Hi everyone. It's been a while since I've made any update videos about my shop, mostly because there hasn't been much happening. However, that's about to change. I'm getting a new roof put on my building, and the company's about halfway through with the work as I'm recording this. Old roof? New roof. They had to replace a whole lot of rotted wood in both the roof and the eaves. But you can also see they took down that awful cellulose board insulation that was there to stop it from condensing. And in reality, all it ever did was just absorb the water and disintegrate all over my stuff. So I'm glad to see that go. In the meantime, I want to show you some new machines that I've acquired to help fill up all this space. First of all, I've got this really cool old Delta drill press that I found at a garage sale. And I got a really screaming deal on it, but it does need a little bit of love and tender care. First of all, I'm missing 2 out of the 3 handles, and I believe these threaded holes in the hub are stripped out, so I'll have to do something about that. The other thing is the motor is definitely not original, and neither is the motor pulley. So you can see there's only 3 positions on the sheave there, whereas there's 5 on the spindle pulley. This motor, I'm not sure if it's a washing machine motor or just something they bought at a farm store or something, but especially if they're going to be drilling wood, these should probably be totally enclosed so they don't get a bunch of sawdust inside them. Anyway, if you happen to have or know anyone who has a Delta drill press of this same vintage, see if you can get me some measurements on the motor pulley so that I can either find it or recreate it. The really coolest feature for me, though, on this drill press is the foot pedal power switch here. And it's momentary, so as soon as you let loose, the machine turns off, which is awesome, especially if you're just going to come up here and drill a quick hole. I did get some wood to replace this sacrificial table. I haven't gotten this off of there yet, but hopefully the table's in decent shape. I see a few little pock marks there, so there might be a pretty bad arc of shame underneath it. We'll just have to see. Moving on to the other new drill press in my life, I picked up a neat old radial drill from my buddy Zach. He was moving his grandpa's old Camelback drill into his shop and no longer had room for this one. And I really can't stand to see a homeless tool, so naturally it followed me home. If you don't know what a radial drill is, this arm right here swings on the column, so you can actually pivot that around to position the drill, and the drill head itself slides back and forth along the arm. This one has a Morse 3 spindle taper right here, so you can use taper shank drills or taper shank drill chucks, and then you can bolt things either directly to the table, or we've got this platen right down here that has my weed burner torch on it for some reason. I need to put this guy back up onto the table. We took it off so we could move it easier. And it's also got a VFD, so I can run it off of 110. I also picked up my own pallet jack. I got this one from a friend of mine who just had a bunch lying around, and I paid him $50 for it. The wheels are in good shape. It pumps up and down fine. It holds height fine. So it seems to be in pretty good shape, and a real nice deal for $50. Probably the handiest new addition to the shop is going to be this 2-ton shop crane that I picked up back around Father's Day. And if you've never used one of these, it's not just for engines, of course. You can use this for lifting anything. And it's fantastic for lifting things like my lathes. So I can lift them up and get bars underneath them to move them or put them onto skids. It's really, really fantastic. Not to mention all those times that I had to lift my dividing head or my rotary table to put them up on the mill table. Those days are gone. I'm going to be able to lift them with this and save my back and any hernias that I may or may not have. I was recently on a trip down to Louisiana to see my family, and my aunt asked if I wanted any of my uncle's woodworking tools. My son is starting to get into woodworking, and I absolutely said yes, because this is a huge win for him. And one of the things is this cool little CNC router. I believe the work envelope on it is something in the neighborhood of 2 feet by 2 feet, or about 600 by 600 millimeters. It has been sitting in an unconditioned garage for a while, so it is a bit rusty up there on all the guides, but that should be relatively easy to clean up. And I do know from this paperwork that it runs off of Mach 3. I do have the computer that they had tucked away over there, but it's going on probably 25 years old, and it was sitting in the same garage, so I don't know if it'll even turn on. But I can build a computer for it and get the latest version of Mach 3 to see if I can get this thing running. That would be a neat little project. I also picked up a little router table from them, as well as a DeWalt planer. I got an 8-inch bench grinder because now that I have space, I definitely want to have way more grinders than I had before. I've got this nice old Sears Craftsman bandsaw, and from the looks of it, I would guess this is a late 70s, early 80s vintage, and this thing is heavy. I had to take the table off in order to get it into my truck for the trip back, so that's sitting down here. I need to reassemble it. But this thing has a lot of cast iron on it. I would say the bandsaw definitely weighs somewhere in the 100-pound range, just the saw itself. So it's pretty beefy. The last thing that I got from them was an also equally beefy Sears Craftsman jointer here. And this one has quite a bit of rust on it, so I'm going to be doing a restore on this one, get all the rust off, go through the bearings, make sure it feels pretty nice. But yeah, it's got the stand and everything, rolls around. So this is an awesome thing to have for my son, and for myself too. I wouldn't mind doing a little bit of woodworking. Among the other pieces and parts and extra blades, I also got 4 Kennedy toolboxes, 3 of these smaller ones here, and 1 bigger one that has the central drawer for either the machinery's handbook or all your candy. And they are full of stuff. I haven't gone through them yet to see what's in there, but I have quite a bit of tools to go through. I've also got a lot of router bits for the CNC router, and that box back there, this is actually a box that my uncle's grandfather had made, and he's got all of his electronics tools in there. It's a really cool little box. I'll show all of these in detail in a future video. I still have a table saw and a belt sander that I couldn't fit in the truck on the last trip, so I'll be making another trip down to Louisiana soon to grab them. As always, if you have any questions or topics you'd like to see me cover, please leave those down in the comments. While you're down there, hit the like and subscribe buttons if you think I've earned it, and please consider supporting the channel over on Patreon like the paragons of humanity you see on the screen right now. You might also want to check out these other videos. On the right is my playlist of quick machining tips. On the top left is my most recent video, and on the bottom left there's a video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy just as much as this one. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time.